Bruno Guimaraes to Arsenal transfer twist as Newcastle prepare £34 million offer for replacement. The summer transfer saga looks to be drawing to a conclusion. Bruno Guimaraes may have moved one step closer to completing a move to Arsenal, with Newcastle weighing up Inter Milan midfielder Petr Cech as a replacement. The Newcastle captain's future has been one of the transfer sagas of the summer, though it's not expected to drag on for much longer. While Newcastle sources have repeatedly insisted that no club-to-club talks have taken place, and that they have received no official approach, the Gunners have largely been dealing with intermediaries. Standard Sport have revealed that progress has now been made in the attempts to find an agreement between the two clubs, and there is growing optimism from Arsenal's side that a deal will be done. Newcastle were demanding a fee in the region of Sandro Tonali's move to Tottenham for an initial £92 million, but it is understood that a deal for around £75 million to £80 million is close to being finalised. As such, the Magpies are bracing themselves for another painful exit by lining up a replacement for Guimaraes. According to Corriere dello Sport, Newcastle have joined Premier League rivals Leeds in expressing an interest in Cech and are prepared to submit an offer worth between €35 million and €40 million, £30 million and £34 million. Inter, however, are adamant that Cech, who scored against Arsenal in the Champions League last season, is not for sale, although that position could change as their valuation of €45 million, £38.4 million, is met. In addition, the report states that Newcastle are, at least, prepared to test Inter's resolve for one of the brightest young midfielders around. As a central midfielder, and with Guimaraes being linked with Arsenal, naturally interest in Cech will be seen as Newcastle making plans for life after their captain. Despite only being 22, Cech has become a key player for both club and country over the past year. He made 54 appearances across all competitions for Inter last season and started 3 times for Croatia at this summer's World Cup. Arsenal agree deal worth €94 million. Dream signing undergoes medical on Monday. Arsenal seem to have finally landed the midfield reinforcement they wanted. The Times reported on Saturday evening that the London club have reached an agreement with Newcastle United over the transfer of Bruno Guimaraes. The Brazilian will cost, converted, and including bonuses, more than €93.5 million, €82 million fixed. Arsenal have been chasing Guimaraes for some time. During the World Cup it became clear the Premier League champions wanted to strengthen their squad with the Newcastle United captain, something Newcastle understandably had little interest in. At the end of June, Arsenal made their first bid, €64 million. Newcastle waved it away, and then rejected a second offer worth more than €70 million. Guimaraes, whose contract at St James Park runs until mid-2028, made it clear from the start that he was open to the move. The 28-year-old World Cup participant, however, was left waiting. A few days ago, Arsenal returned with a bid of €81 million. Newcastle rejected that offer too, but the clubs were closing in on an agreement. Now they have found common ground in a deal worth more than €93.5 million. On Friday, Guimaraes did not fly with the squad to La Monga in Spain, where Newcastle are preparing for the new season. The medical at Arsenal reportedly set to take place on Monday. That leaves Newcastle on the verge of losing another major player this summer. Earlier, Anthony Gordon, FC Barcelona, and Sandro Tonali, Tottenham Hotspur, had already left.